You are currently being suffocated by people who claim to love you, yet you thank them. Social suffocation is like a room where oxygen is slowly replaced by the perfume of others' expectations. How many times have you edited your personality just to fit into a room not built for you? Your life is currently a performance for a theater of ghosts, leaving your true self behind. You are a prisoner to a black box of social reality, governed by the opinions of strangers. This desperate need for validation is a weight that drags your potential into the cold, dark dirt. The human mind is naturally terrified of isolation, making you a slave to the crowd's fickle approval. We have traded our personal sovereignty for the hollow comfort of belonging to a broken judgmental system. You have fallen into a pattern of slave morality, sacrificing your will to appease the mediocre masses. Every time you swallow your truth to keep the peace, you lose another piece of your soul. This cycle of being a chronic people-pleaser is not kindness. It is a slow, agonizing psychological suicide. You are drowning in a sea of likes and nods while your actual identity gasps for air. The walls of this social cage are closing in, and you are running out of time to breathe. But there is a way to perform a psychological exorcism on the demons of your social anxiety. There is a man dead for 500 years who saw this invisible cage coming for you. Niccolò Machiavelli is often described as the most misunderstood philosopher in the entire history of human thought. He was not a villain, but a realist who understood the brutal nature of the human condition. He holds the secret cure for your desperate need for validation and your fear of being alone. His teachings offer a path toward becoming a sovereign entity, untouchable by the demands of others. It is time to embrace the concept of virtù and reclaim the power you have so carelessly given. This is not a lesson in cruelty, but a masterclass in survival within a hostile social reality. We are going to strip away the layers of your conditioning and reveal the cold truth beneath. Are you ready to stop being a pawn and start playing the game on your own terms? The journey to self-mastery begins by looking into the eyes of the man the world fears most. Prepare yourself for a transformation that will turn your social suffocation into a breath of pure fire. To stop the suffocation, you need a blueprint for self-sovereignty that defies your current social reality. If you do not rule yourself, you are volunteering to be a subject in someone else's kingdom. Niccolò Machiavelli, a man dead for 5 centuries, predicted the cage you are currently living inside. He lived 500 years ago, yet his cold insights remain the ultimate weapon against social chains. Would you rather be a comfortable slave or a dangerous master of your own destiny and fate? Self-sovereignty is the difference between being the lead actor and being a mere prop on the stage. Most people exist in a state of slave morality, unknowingly serving the whims of those around them. You have become a professional people-pleaser, trading your power for the illusion of safety and social acceptance. Machiavelli's philosophy demands a choice. Rule your own mind or let the world dictate your every move. If you refuse to govern yourself, someone else will happily step in to manage your life for you. To escape this suffocation, you must undergo a psychological exorcism of every weak habit you possess. This transformation requires a ruthless framework designed to turn you into a truly sovereign entity. There are 7 ruthless principles that will redefine how you interact with the world around you. We begin with Virtù, the raw power and skill needed to navigate a world that wants you small. You must stop asking for permission to exist and start claiming the space that is rightfully yours. Your mind is currently a black box, programmed by others to ensure your absolute and quiet compliance. True mastery is not about controlling others, but about becoming immune to the control they exert over you. These 7 keys are the only way to stop the suffocation and reclaim your individual authority. Forget everything you were taught about being nice. It was a strategy to keep you predictable and weak. Prepare to unlock the first of 7 ways to stop being a victim of your own kindness. It is time to burn down your old self and build a fortress of absolute self-governance. 7 keys are coming. 7 ways to stop asking for permission and finally breathe pure fire. Key number 1. We must begin with the violent death of the nice guy myth once and for all. Your kindness isn't a virtue. It's a debt you're paying to people who will never settle the bill. Why are you so afraid of being the villain in someone else's carefully constructed story? We must perform a psychological exorcism on the slave morality that keeps you chained to other people's expectations. You have been taught that prioritizing your own social reality is selfish, but that lie is your prison. Consider the cold truth. Every person you meet is fundamentally driven by their own self-interest and survival. Their ego is the engine of their actions, just as your ego should be the engine of yours. How much of your goodness is actually just a deep-seated fear of conflict and social rejection? Indiscriminate goodness is like giving away all your water in a desert to people who aren't even thirsty. You are draining your own well dry, while the world watches with complete and utter indifference. Machiavelli warned that a man wishing to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief. He understood that you exist among so many who are simply not good by your naive standards. By trying to please everyone, you have become a people pleaser trapped inside a black box of your own making. You are a sovereign entity, yet you act like a servant to those who do not respect you. True virtue requires the strength to stand alone in your reality, regardless of the noise around you. If you continue to prioritize their needs, you are merely reinforcing the chains of your own submission. The world does not reward the selfless. It devours them and moves on to the next willing victim. You must stop asking for permission to be the primary protagonist in your own unfolding life story. Every time you say yes to appease another, you are saying no to your own ultimate potential. This cycle of grief ends only when you realize that your goodness is being weaponized against you. It is time to reclaim your power and reject the hollow morality that has kept you small. Realize that self-interest is the only honest currency in a world governed by survival and raw ego. Break free from the black box and start living as a sovereign entity who commands respect. Because when you are good to everyone, you are ultimately good to no one, least of all yourself. You have been taught that being good is your highest calling, a shield against the world's judgment. But this modern version of virtue is actually a cage designed to keep your potential locked away forever. Every time you prioritize others over yourself, you strengthen the bars of your own social reality. We must perform a psychological exorcism to remove the lie that being a people pleaser equals being moral. This soft morality is nothing more than slave morality, a tool used by others to ensure your compliance. To break free, we must turn to the cold, hard truths of Niccolò Machiavelli's ancient wisdom. Machiavelli warned that a man who makes a profession of goodness in everything must eventually come to grief. He recognized that you are surrounded by people who are not good, yet you remain dangerously vulnerable. While you play by the rules of kindness, the world treats your goodness as a weakness to exploit. Your desire to be seen as good makes you a predictable element within their controlled black box. It is time to replace this hollow concept of virtue with a much older, more potent ideal. In the language of Machiavelli, the word you need to master is not virtue, but virtù. Forget the Christian definition of goodness that emphasizes submissiveness, sacrifice, and turning the other cheek. For a sovereign entity, virtù means something entirely different than being a polite and harmless neighbor. Machiavellian virtù is defined as prowess, raw capability, and the strength to command your own destiny. It is the internal power that allows a man to shape his circumstances instead of being shaped. Transitioning from a people pleaser to a man of virtù requires a total shift in your internal compass. You must stop asking if an action is nice and start asking if you are capable of it. True capability is the only thing that protects you from the suffocation of a mediocre and controlled life. This shift in definition is your first step toward becoming a truly sovereign entity in a hostile world. Virtue makes you a servant to the masses, but virtù makes you the master of your own path. To survive among those who are not good, you must develop the prowess to outmaneuver their subtle control. When you embrace virtù, you finally stop being a tool for others and start being a force. The profession of goodness is a death sentence, but the pursuit of capability is your only salvation. Your anxiety isn't a glitch. It's an ancient survival code currently trying to kill your potential. To break the cycle, you must first understand the brutal biology of your own primal fear. Human beings are biologically wired for tribes, a legacy written deep into our very genetic code. This ancient connection wasn't a choice. It was the only way our ancestors actually stayed alive. Ancestrally, being cast out of a tribe resulted in a certain death by starvation or predators. In the wild, isolation meant you were defenseless against a world designed to consume the solo. Your brain learned that social rejection was a literal death sentence delivered by the immediate community. Every cold shoulder from a peer felt like the approaching shadows of a hungry, unseen beast. This is why anxiety is a survival mechanism developed by the brain to ensure your safety. It is a smoke alarm that screams every time you risk upsetting the collective social reality. To the modern people pleaser, a simple snub feels like being abandoned in a frozen wasteland. You are reacting to a minor social snub as if your very life hangs in the balance. Why does a mean comment from a stranger feel like a jagged, physical wound to your soul? Your mind is trapped in a black box, repeating ancient survival patterns that no longer serve you. This instinct forces you into a slave morality where you trade power for the illusion of safety. Machiavelli understood that the fear of the masses is the greatest chain on any sovereign entity. You are performing a psychological exorcism on your own ambition to keep the peace with others. But you aren't on the savannah anymore, and that survival instinct has become your prison guard. The tribe that once protected you has been replaced by a digital crowd of judgmental strangers. Your brain hasn't caught up to the fact that isolation no longer leads to certain starvation. You are still running from predators that died out thousands of years before you were born. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you feed an ancient, obsolete fear. To reclaim your virtue, you must realize that the tribe's disapproval is no longer a death sentence. You must step outside the social reality and embrace the cold path of the sovereign entity. That survival code is now a virus, and it is time to rewrite your internal operating system. Now, we clear the theater and take back the stage of your sovereign mind. An opinion is nothing more than a chemical reaction in someone else's physical brain. Why are you letting a simple biological sneeze control the direction of your entire life? Machiavelli understood this, viewing reputation as a powerful tool rather than a master. To achieve true virtue, you must treat your social reality as a malleable black box. The former people-pleaser is dead. A sovereign entity now stands in his place. Scientific truth reveals every judgment of you is just a brief, meaningless synaptic firing. Mastering the art of managing perception grants you ultimate power over your surrounding environment. We are performing a psychological exorcism to cast out the lingering demons of slave morality. If these people aren't paying rent, why are they still living inside your mental theater? Managing perception is like being a director who knows exactly which stage lights to use. You decide what they see when they see it, and how they ultimately feel. Stop feeling the weight of their gaze and see the cold chemistry behind their eyes. When you control the narrative, you transform from a social victim into a dominant architect. A sovereign entity does not ask for permission. He dictates the terms of every engagement. What happens inside their mind is a black box you influence, but never truly inhabit. What would you do today if you knew their opinion of you was completely irrelevant? Machiavelli taught that your public face is a mask worn for the benefit of goals. You must reject slave morality and the desperate need for external validation from the herd. Your reputation is a hammer you use to build a world that finally serves you. Never let the tool become the master, or the shadow become the man in the mirror. Their hatred and their praise are both nothing more than fleeting sparks of organic electricity. You are no longer trapped in their design. You are the primary architect of perception. Every interaction is a performance on a stage, where you hold the only important script. Once you realize their thoughts are just synaptic firings, you stop being their fearful servant. Step into your new role as the architect and build the reality you deserve now. Welcome to the modern theater, where your digital presence acts as the first line of your defense. In this landscape, the former people-pleaser must learn to wield their reputation with surgical, cold precision. Machiavelli understood that your reputation should serve as your tool, rather than becoming your cruel, demanding master. When you control how the world sees you, you transform from a social victim into a sovereign entity. This is the psychological exorcism required to strip away the lingering chains of your old slave morality. Every post you share and every word you write contributes to the social reality you are building. Stop viewing your online image as a mirror and start seeing it as a powerful black box. Inside that box, your private doubts remain hidden, while the exterior projects an aura of total virtue. Most people mistakenly believe that their digital profiles must reflect every flicker of their inner emotional state. True power lies in managing perception, ensuring that others only see the strength you choose to exhibit. You must remember that an onlooker's opinion is merely a fleeting synaptic firing within their own skull. Their judgment is nothing more than a simple chemical reaction, devoid of any actual authority over you. Why should you fear a burst of neurotransmitters in the brain of someone who does not matter? Machiavelli's wisdom teaches us that the appearance of virtue is often more effective than virtue itself. By curating a formidable image, you command respect without ever having to reveal your internal human struggles. This strategic distance ensures that your social reality remains under your absolute and unwavering personal control. Consider every digital interaction as a move on a chessboard designed to reinforce your newfound self-sovereignty. You are no longer seeking validation from the crowd, but rather directing the play from behind the curtain. Let the masses react to the phantom you create while you remain detached from their predictable impulses. This is how the architect designs a world where his own shadow commands more influence than his words. Every chemical spark in their minds is a brick you lay in the foundation of your power. Your digital presence is the fortress that protects the inner workings of your developing sovereign mind. Never let the light of public scrutiny reach the vulnerable spaces where your deepest growth is occurring. By mastering these perception management techniques, you finally break the cycle of being a social servant. You have transitioned from a desperate seeker of approval to a master of the digital grand illusion. Your reputation is now a weapon, sharp and ready to defend the borders of your own reality. Would you rather be the nice guy everyone likes, or the man who sets the room's terms? This brings us directly to Machiavelli's most controversial, yet most useful rule for the sovereign entity. Machiavelli famously stated that it is much safer to be feared than it is to be loved. To escape the slave morality of the people-pleaser, we must redefine what fear means today. In our modern social reality, the desire for love has morphed into a fragile, desperate likability. Think of love as a bridge made of glass, beautiful to see but prone to sudden shattering. Machiavelli observed that love is merely preserved by a shifting and unreliable link of social obligation. When you rely on being liked, you surrender your power to the changing moods of the crowd. You become a servant to their expectations, trapped within the black box of seeking external validation. But there is a more durable path for the man seeking true psychological exorcism from his past. In the modern landscape, fear is not about physical threats. It translates directly into unwavering respect. Machiavelli noted that fear is preserved by a dread of punishment that never fails the ruler. Today, this punishment is the immediate consequence of violating your unshakable standards and personal boundaries. If love is a bridge of glass, then fear is a bridge built from reinforced steel. Why do we treat likability as the ultimate goal when it is the most fragile thing owned? A sovereign entity understands that virtue requires the strength to be someone who cannot be ignored. People pleasers fear the silence of others, while the sovereign man uses that silence to command the room. Is it safer to depend on their shifting moods or your own ironclad and consistent standards? Respect isn't something you beg for. It is the natural byproduct of having boundaries with consequences. Being feared means they know there is a high price to pay for crossing your line. Likability is a leash that others hold, while respect is a fortress you build for yourself. True power lies in the realization that being loved is optional, but being respected is mandatory. Stop chasing the ghost of popularity and start building the foundation of a reputation that lasts. Remember, likability is a fragile leash, but respect remains your most enduring and powerful social fortress. The fifth key to reclaiming your absolute power is mastering the heavy iron shield of secrecy. Imagine a silent leak in your brain, where every shared plan bleeds your vital internal power. Why do you feel such hollow satisfaction after telling others your plans before starting the work? Science reveals that describing your grand intentions causes your brain to release a satisfying hit of dopamine. This premature chemical reward effectively tricks your mind into believing the difficult goal is already achieved. By seeking early validation, you are unknowingly destroying the very drive required to finish the mission. Sharing your plans is like venting steam from a pressure cooker before the food is even cooked. To stop being a pathetic people-pleaser, you must retreat into the quiet depths of your black box. Machiavelli understood that your internal world is a fortress that must be guarded with total, absolute vigilance. He advised that a sovereign entity must never consult others until they have first consulted themselves. Consulting others too early allows their weak slave morality to infect your vision before it can breathe. You must become the judge and the executioner within the private theater of your own sovereign mind. Who are you really trying to impress? Your future self, or the fickle crowd watching you perform? Machiavelli warned that war cannot be avoided. It is only ever postponed to your own strategic disadvantage. Postponing the internal battle for your will only allows your social reality to tighten its suffocating grip. You need a psychological exorcism to purge the voices of those who want you to remain small. True virtue is found in the cold, silent execution of a plan that no one else knows. Your mind must become an impenetrable black box, opaque to the world and immune to social pressure. Seeking outside approval is a fatal weakness that proves you do not yet trust your own sovereignty. Every time you leak your intentions, you are handing your enemies a map to your own destruction. Silence is not just a lack of speech. It is a weapon used to build unstoppable internal pressure. When you consult yourself first, you anchor your decisions in your own reality, not their expectations. This internal consultation builds a high wall between your spirit and the suffocating demands of the tribe. Treat every goal as a silent campaign in a war that you refuse to lose or postpone. Wait to talk until the work is finished, so they see your results instead of hearing words. By then, they won't need to hear your plans because they will be living in your reality. Step away from the social stage and enter the absolute silence of your own internal black box. Most men are addicted to the cheap applause that comes from broadcasting every minor intention they have. This constant cycle of seeking validation makes you a predictable people pleaser rather than a sovereign entity. I am giving you a quest. For the next 24 hours, speak of no future plans. Do not share a single upcoming move or a recent accomplishment with anyone in your social circle. This is a psychological exorcism designed to purge the need for external approval from your very soul. When you tell someone your plans, your brain betrays you by releasing a premature flood of dopamine. This chemical reward tricks your mind into feeling the satisfaction of a victory you have not earned. Because you already feel the biological high, your internal motivation to do the work begins to wither. You have effectively traded real-world progress for a temporary spike in neurochemistry and social recognition. This is the trap of slave morality, where the opinions of others matter more than your results. Machiavelli understood this danger, advising men to consult themselves long before seeking the counsel of others. By keeping your mouth shut, you begin to build a high-pressure reservoir of unreleased intent and power. Without the release valve of talking, that energy has nowhere to go but into your massive actions. You are cultivating virtù, the raw power required to impose your will onto a chaotic world. Every word you withhold adds another layer of iron to your internal fortress of absolute self-mastery. The silence will feel heavy, like a physical weight pressing against the back of your own teeth. Resist the urge to leak your power through the cracks of casual conversation and idle boasting. You are reclaiming your social reality by becoming the only person who knows your next move. This 24-hour fast from validation will reveal exactly how much you currently rely on others. If you cannot survive a single day in silence, you are not a master, but a servant. Use this internal pressure to fuel the work that actually changes the trajectory of your entire life. Let the results speak with a thunder that your voice could never hope to achieve on its own. In the quiet, you will find the clarity that only a truly sovereign mind can ever possess. Tomorrow, you will realize that the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. Half the people in your life wait for you to fail, and the other half wait to get paid. Now that you have mastered your inner silence, it is time to audit your entire social circle. Imagine your life as a battlefield where every person standing beside you carries a hidden price tag. Many of your friends are nothing more than mercenaries who only fight for the resources you provide. Machiavelli defines mercenaries as soldiers who fight solely for money, lacking any true loyalty to your cause. Like fair-weather fans, these people will vanish from the stadium the moment your winning streak finally ends. They are present for the feast, but they will never stand beside you during the cold winter famine. If you lost everything tomorrow, ask yourself who would still be standing next to your side. The mercenary's heart is cold, focused entirely on what they can extract from your growing digital fortress. Beyond the mercenaries, you must face a far more dangerous threat known as the auxiliary force. Auxiliaries are soldiers who belong to another ruler, serving you only while it suits their primary master. Are your closest friends true allies, or are they just auxiliaries with their own secret, conflicting agendas? When the pressure mounts, an auxiliary will always prioritize their own sovereign entity over your shared goals. Relying on the strength of others is a slave morality trap that leaves your neck exposed to betrayal. You have been playing a dangerous game by building your social reality on the shifting sands of others. Every time you outsource your defense, you hand a dagger to someone who might eventually use it. A psychological exorcism is required to purge these parasitic elements from your inner sanctum of power. Machiavelli wrote that a wise prince should rely on what is his own rather than on others. True virtue demands that you forge your own weapons and depend solely on the strength of your arms. To be a sovereign entity, you must become the primary source of your own protection and prosperity. No one is coming to save you, and no one is truly obligated to help you succeed. You must dismantle the nice guy delusion that loyalty can be bought or borrowed from the weak. Take back the stage of your life and ensure that every person there serves your ultimate vision. Your black box of secrets must remain protected by your own hands, not by hired help. A prince who relies on external arms is a prince waiting for his own assassination. Why is your social audit so necessary? Because of the dark core truth of human nature. The people you try to please are naturally ungrateful, fickle, and often profoundly cowardly. Stop expecting them to be heroes when their own immediate survival is the only thing they value. You are currently clinging to a fantasy version of humanity that does not actually exist. Machiavelli stated that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous by their very nature. This is not a cynical insult. It is a cold observation of the biological software. When they need you, they offer promises, but when that need vanishes, so does loyalty. Relying on the gratitude of others is like building your house on shifting, treacherous sand. Your indiscriminate goodness is not a shield. It is a target for those who take without giving. A sovereign entity with true virtue understands that most people betray their word when convenient. Are you still shocked when people fail you, or have you learned to expect self-interest? The nice guy within you wants to believe in a world of fairness that never existed. You must perform a psychological exorcism on the lie that others will reward your sacrifices. Slave morality demands you serve others, while sovereignty requires you to see them clearly. People are not inherently evil. They are simply driven by the urgent, primitive needs of now. Once their immediate hunger is satisfied, your previous kindness becomes a distant and fading memory. Why do you expect loyalty from people who are not even loyal to their own selves? To navigate your social reality, stop seeking validation from those who are incapable of providing it. Your internal black box of power remains untouched when you ignore their fickle, shifting opinions. Embracing this harsh reality is the only way to protect your spirit from constant social disappointment. You no longer need to be the victim of a world that was never looking out for you. Once you accept how fickle people truly are, you are finally free from their crushing judgment. There is one thing even the greatest emperor cannot buy back, and you are currently throwing it away. The sixth key to sovereignty isn't about people. It's about the only currency that truly counts. Machiavelli understood that while Fortuna grants wealth and power, she can never restore the hours you've lost. Every second you waste on a people-pleaser's guilt is a permanent withdrawal from your finite life bank. To protect your sovereign entity, you must adopt the mindset of a prince who guards his resources fiercely. Do not fear a reputation for being miserly when it comes to the heavy price of your day. Your social reality is built on the time you invest, and right now, you are overspending on others. Slave morality tells you that giving your time away is a virtue, but it is actually self-sabotage. Consider the word ruthless, which finds its deep linguistic roots in the old term for regret, rue. Being ruthless simply means living in a way that leaves no room for future regret or mourning. Inside your internal black box, you must evaluate where your minutes are leaking into the useless void. Reclaiming your virtue requires a cold, calculated assessment of every invitation and social obligation you accept. Perform a psychological exorcism on the need to be available to everyone at any given moment. If you were charged $100 for every wasted minute, would you still be scrolling aimlessly? Sovereignty requires more than just guarding time. It requires recognizing the fleeting windows of absolute fate. Machiavelli called these critical moments of opportunity a occasion, the precise timing needed for decisive action. An occasion is not a door that stays open. It is a narrow window that slams shut. Most people miss these windows because they are too busy managing the expectations of unimportant people. A sovereign entity does not hesitate when the window opens, for waiting is a form of slow death. The stinginess of a prince is his greatest protection against the unpredictable whims of human nature. Remember that time is the only resource that the goddess Fortuna can never, ever give back. Are you waiting for a perfect time, or are you missing the occasion right in front of you? Every time you say yes to a distraction, you are saying no to your own ultimate potential. The clock is ticking toward a future where your current social obligations will mean absolutely nothing. You must be miserly with your hours, for the window of occasion closes faster than you think. This brings us to the final key, the master seal that locks your sovereignty into place. Virtù. Machiavelli did not write these rules from a golden palace or a seat of comfortable power. He wrote them from the rack with broken bones and a reputation that had been utterly cancelled. After the Medici family stripped his title and threw him into exile, he faced absolute social death. In the silence of that exile, he discovered a truth that the average people-pleaser will never understand. He realized that true freedom is not granted by the tribe. It is forged through internal prowess. In his language, this prowess is called Virtù, a concept far removed from traditional Christian morality. Virtù is not about being a good person. It is about your raw capability to command reality. While slave morality begs for permission, the sovereign entity uses Virtù to carve his own path forward. Think about it. If the man who was tortured can remain sovereign, what is your excuse? You have been trained to seek validation, turning your mind into a prison of external opinions. But a man who does not need validation from others can never truly be controlled by them. This realization is the final stage of your psychological exorcism from the expectations of the crowd. You must retreat into your internal black box and decide what remains when everything is stripped away. Machiavelli stated that a prince must always rely on his own arms to protect his people. In your world, your own arms means your skills, your boundaries, and your refusal to break. The social reality you fear is nothing more than a paper tiger when faced with genuine prowess. Your history of people-pleasing was a strategy of the weak, a desperate attempt to avoid the rack. But the rack has already come, and you are still standing, proving your internal strength is unbreakable. This is the steel sword of Virtù, forged in the heat of suffering and sharpened by isolation. You are no longer a victim of the tribe. You are the architect of your own sovereign fate. True freedom is absolute self-reliance, a fortress built on the bones of the man you used to be. By mastering your own arms, you transform from a servant of the crowd into a master of men. Every scar you carry from social rejection is a testament to the strength you didn't know you had. The world tried to cancel Machiavelli, yet his words outlived the very family that sought to destroy him. When you stop playing the game of others, you finally start winning the game of yourself. Mastery is not the absence of pain, but the ability to use that pain as fuel for action. Stand tall in your new reality, for the era of the people-pleaser has officially come to an end. They can take your title, your money, and your freedom, but they can never take your prowess. This is the ultimate synthesis of the prince. Power is not found outside, but within your soul. But for those who want to go deeper than a YouTube algorithm allows, your journey begins now. The world doesn't want you to have these tools. In fact, they're trying to hide this video. Digital platforms often suppress or demonetize the profound truths found within the study of dark psychology. Will you let a faceless algorithm decide what you are allowed to learn and master today? There is a place where the social reality of censorship cannot touch the truths we share. I invite you to bypass the gates and join the uncensored architect membership level right now. This level is the master key to the hidden library they desperately tried to burn down. Break free from the slave morality imposed on you by those who fear your sovereign potential. Simply click the join button to gain immediate access to our most restricted and powerful content. Do not settle for surface-level knowledge when the source code of human nature is within reach. Every day, the filters tighten, making it harder for men like you to find real truth. They prefer you weak, predictable, and trapped within the safe boundaries of modern social expectations. True self-sovereignty requires tools that the mainstream world considers far too dangerous for the masses. While others are distracted by trivialities, the architect studies the hidden mechanics of human influence. You have felt the weight of the social prison. Now it is time to dismantle the bars. This membership isn't just a subscription. It is an act of rebellion against digital suppression. Inside, we perform a psychological exorcism on the limiting beliefs that have held you back. Stop throwing your time away and start investing in the prowess that creates real empires. Access the blueprint that turns a mere person into a calculated and formidable sovereign entity. The algorithm rewards compliance, but the architect level rewards those who dare to see clearly. This is your formal invitation to exit the theater of lies and enter the black box. Are you satisfied with the surface, or are you finally ready for the ultimate source code? Click the join button below to claim your seat among those who refuse to be controlled. Leave the herd behind and embrace the Machiavellian path to absolute personal and social freedom. The gates are open for a limited time for those with the courage to step through. Do not wait for permission from a world that wants you to remain small and silent. Secure your virtue and reclaim your absolute power as a sovereign entity in a chaotic world. Step out of the black box and into the light of forbidden knowledge as an architect. The decision is yours. Become the architect of your own destiny and join us now. Become the architect of your reality and secure your place in our private ranks today. To understand your own path to sovereignty, we must look at a man who lost everything. Imagine a life of influence suddenly shattered by the very people you once served and protected. Before he was a legend, Machiavelli was a high-ranking official within the heart of the Florentine Republic. Everything changed when the powerful Medici family returned to power and initiated his brutal public cancellation. They did not just end his career, they stripped him of his title and precious reputation. He was cast out from the inner circles of power into the cold silence of social isolation. In the darkness of a dungeon, he endured the agony of torture at the hands of enemies. Most men would have broken under the weight of such a violent and sudden psychological exorcism. They expected him to beg for mercy or retreat into the hollow comfort of slave morality. Instead, Machiavelli retreated into an internal black box where his resentment transformed into pure, cold vision. Within the solitude of his rural exile, he began crafting the blueprint known as the Prince. He realized that being a people-pleaser is a death sentence in the unforgiving theater of social reality. In this isolation, he synthesized the concept of virtue as a shield against the world's shifting loyalties. He used the fuel of his betrayal to burn away the last remnants of his former fragile self. His cancellation became the catalyst for a work that would define the art of power forever. You too may find yourself abandoned by those you thought were your allies and closest friends. When the world turns its back, you must decide if you are a victim or a sovereign entity. Machiavelli didn't just survive his exile. He used the silence to master the mechanics of human nature. Every drop of blood spilled in that dungeon became ink for the pages of his masterpiece. He understood that true power is never given. It is forged in the fires of absolute betrayal. Your current social suffocation is merely the prelude to your own version of his historical exile. He walked into the woods a broken man and emerged as the architect of modern political thought. Stop fearing the judgment of the tribe and start building your own fortress from their rejection. Embrace the darkness of your cancellation to find the light of your own ultimate sovereignty. For Machiavelli, the end of his public life was the beginning of his eternal, sovereign legacy.